Hello everyone, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel Let's Dissect Anatomy. Currently in the practical series we are discussing the osteology of skull, in which we have covered introduction and norma verticalis. In today's practical we are going to discuss norma occipitalis, means study of the skull from behind. And as you all know, the back side of the skull lodges the hindbrain and
ए धनिया इधर मत मार, समझा क्या?
क्यों?
इधर छोटा दिमाग होता है, आदमी मर जाता है.
so let's start study of the skull from behind. Here you can see the view of the back side of the skull. The bones that we can see in this view are right and left parietal bone. Here you can see right and left parietal bone. Then you can see a occipital bone and a small part of temporal bone. Here you can see this is the suture which separates the occipital bone from the temporal bone. This is the mastoid part of the temporal bone. Here again you can see this is the suture, this is the occipital bone, and this is the mastoid part of the temporal bone. So the bones are parietal, occipital and mastoid part of the temporal bone. The sutures that we can see in this view are sagittal suture, then lambdoid suture, then here you can see the suture between occipital bone and mastoid part of the temporal bone. This is called occipito-mastoid suture. Another suture that you can see from behind, it is between parietal bone and mastoid part of the temporal bone. So this suture, it is known as parieto-mastoid suture. So total 4 sutures are there: sagittal suture, then lambdoid suture, then occipito-mastoid suture and parieto-mastoid suture. Now the special features of this view, the 3 features are same as verticalis that you all know. They are parietal foramen. Here you can see these are the parietal foramen, and the area between 2 parietal foramen is called obelion. Then the junction between sagittal and lambdoid suture, this is known as the lambda in adult skull and posterior fontanelle in newborn skull. So these are the same features that we have discussed in verticalis. The additional features that we can see in this view are, here you can see in the midline, lower part of the midline, you can see a bony prominence, a small rounded bony prominence. This is called external occipital protuberance. As it is a projection over the bone, it is called protuberance. We can see it externally, that's why it's the external protuberance, and it is seen over the occipital bone. So the name is external occipital protuberance. The most prominent point over this tubercle, this one, the most prominent point, or you can say a tip of this tubercle or prominence, is called inion, I-N-I-O-N, inion. And the area just above the inion, this is called occipital point. And this occipital point is the farthest point from glabella. Here you can see this area, this one, a bindi point, you can say. This is called glabella, and this is the occipital point. This one is the occipital point. So the distance between glabella and occipital point, this is the farthest distance or farthest diameter within the skull, glabella to occipital point. This protuberance is actually a demarcation between head and neck, means the area above the protuberance is called head and the area below the protuberance is included in the neck. Now the next feature is superior knuckle line. Here you can see from the picture a faint line running laterally from protuberance on each side. This is the line running laterally on each side from the protuberance. This is called superior knuckle line. One more line is also present just 1 centimeter above the superior knuckle line. Here it is absent, it is rarely present, but whenever it is present, the name of that line is highest knuckle line. It is present over here. Now you can see over the mastoid part of the temporal bone, over here you can see a foramen, one on each side, this one and this one. So these are called mastoid foramen as they are present over the mastoid part of the temporal bone. This foramen transmits two structures. One is emissary vein and another is meningeal branch of occipital artery. So these are the features of norma occipitalis. Now the attachments over this view. Total 7 attachments are there. We will remember it by dividing it. Here the location, as you all know, this is the external occipital protuberance. If we divide it into upper half and lower half, the upper half provides origin to the trapezius muscle and lower half provides attachment to the upper part of ligamentum nuchae. Then this is the superior knuckle line. If we divide it into medial 1/3 and lateral 2/3, medial 1/3 and lateral 2/3. The medial 1/3 of superior knuckle line gives origin to the trapezius muscle again, and the lateral 2/3 of this line provides insertion to the true structures. One is sternocleidomastoid muscle and another is splenius capitis muscle. So trapezius, in case of trapezius it is origin, and these two are sternocleidomastoid and splenius capitis are the insertion. So 2 plus 3, 5. Then if there is a highest knuckle line present over here just above the superior knuckle line, we will divide it into two parts, medial half and lateral half. The medial half gives attachment to the epicranial aponeurosis and the lateral half gives attachment to the occipitalis muscle, or also you can see occipital belly of occipitofrontalis muscle. In case of absence of this highest knuckle line, both these structures will be attached over the superior knuckle line. So these are the total 7 attachments over the norma occipitalis. Okay, so these are the bones, sutures, special features and attachments over the norma occipitalis. So that's it for norma occipitalis. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe my channel and press the bell icon and share it to your friends so that they can also take advantage of this video. See you in the next practical. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.